Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome back to this episode. Now, I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's looking pretty springy here in Melbourne. The sun's out, it's about 18 degrees, which is awesome. But I'm not going to get my hopes up, because if you've ever been to Melbourne, you're going to realize that the weather can change within an instant and you get 4 seasons in a day. But nonetheless, I really wanted to get this podcast episode out because I think it's so vital and crucial that you understand psychology as a business owner, right? We're not here because you're a personal trainer looking to train more clients. You're really looking to build that online business, scale, grow a team, and leave your own legacy, right? And I'm hoping that's right, because that's why you're listening to me now. Well, I hope so, and I hope it's not my voice that's gotten you back in, but really the strategies and really the tips that you're really taking away. But there's one particular topic that I really wanted you to understand, and as a business owner, you really need to learn how to influence people. Now, whether that means, your own staff of coaches, or, when you do finally build a team around you and, you've got someone doing marketing, someone doing selling, and you've got coaches who are fulfilling and getting your clients amazing results, or that is, you need to be able to influence your prospect. Okay. And why this is so important, and why when you learn how to influence people and what influences people, you'll figure out how you can make them do essentially what you want to do. And so it wasn't too long ago that I was at Tony Robbins' event, and if you know Tony Robbins, he's all about this one philosophy that he teaches. It's that we as humans are driven by pain or pleasure. Okay. And so a lot of the times when I talk about lead generation, I'm really thinking about the psychology behind generating new leads and turning them from cold into warmer leads so that they're warm and they want to become our clients. That's the whole philosophy of having a funnel. It's to turn a cold person who's never heard of you into somebody who's probably open to listening to you, to somebody who's actually like a true fan of yours. And that's the ultimate goal. But this only happens, and here's the big kicker, right? This only happens, and I know I've talked about this in the past previous episodes, but if you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen. But this only happens if you can get them from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to nurture these leads and build trust with them by showing them results in advance. We are living in such a very modern age where there's too much information, People are overloaded with information, and now they're trying to look for the good stuff. And so everybody's fighting for people's attention, okay? And in order to get attention, you need to prove why you deserve that attention. And the best way to do that is to get people really fast, rapid results in a short amount of time as possible, and then educate them to get them better long-term results and sustainable results, okay? But I'm sidetracking a little bit only because I really want to talk about psychology and what really drives somebody in. What I mean by that is a lot of times I talk about, especially in the Facebook group with me, I talk about running, a 7-day or a 10-day challenge or some sort of challenge, because that's a great way to get people to take action. I mean, the difference between a 7-day challenge versus a video series is that you've got that camaraderie there, and you've got that peer support, and you've got the fact that everyone else is doing it, so there's a fear of missing out, which then is almost pleasurable, right? It's someone wants to take action because they have this fear of missing out, so that's painful. Everybody's participating. If they don't participate, they're going to miss out, and that's also painful. So they're driven by this fear, as opposed to, let's say your lead magnet is a 7-day video series. There's no real kind of pain or pleasure for them to take action. There's no carrot and there's no stick. Right? Which is why a challenge is perfect. Because here's the thing, if you really understand, this is where you're really going to dominate and you're going to win. And I don't say this quite often, but you're going to become part of that 1%, because the personal trainers that aren't molding their marketing and their messaging and their lead generation towards this kind of modality and this way, they're really going to suffer. But here's the thing. If you can show somebody in advance and if you can nurture them along what I like to call this conveyor belt, you can start them from they're very far away from you. And if you can slowly bring them towards closer and closer towards you, where they're on the phone and they're going to become a client of yours, you will absolutely win. But in order to do so, you're not walking towards them. You're trying to make them walk towards you. And how you do that is you need to be able to influence them to move away from where they currently are, take action on the free stuff, the free challenges, get the result, and then prove to them or prove to themselves that your stuff actually works. Okay, which is why understanding psychology is so important, because if you understand what motivates somebody, if you understand where they are and what will actually make them take action inside the challenge, you can set up a 7-day challenge, but if nobody does it, and here's the biggest kicker, right? If you have 300 people join your challenge and nobody does it, would they want to sign up to your next thing, or would they be likely to ask you, hey, what's next? Hey, Lynn, you've got your 7-day challenge. I've got 300 people signed up, but nobody got any results. Do you think out of those 300 potential prospects and leads and customers that anyone would ask if they want to work with me if they didn't get results from the free stuff? Absolutely not. So the lead magnet here isn't the challenge. Your main job, your main focus is to actually deliver them a transformation. Your main job should be making sure that they take action. And so when you sit back and you wonder what is going to influence them to take action, you can think about pain and pleasure, using the carrot and the stick. What's going to cause them to take action? Okay, because you know that if they take action, they're going to get results. If they get results, they're moving closer towards you on that conveyor belt. And if they get close enough towards you, you can set them up and you can really, really help them. Okay, so just because they've joined your challenge, just because they've downloaded your ebook, it doesn't mean that they're naturally a lead or they're a prospect. They only become really warm if you've shown them that you can transform them and if they've received a result from you. So how do we go about doing this? And this is really where you go a step further and you become a better coach. You become completely self-aware, okay? You develop this level of awareness that, it's not just about yourself. You're really discovering, you're thinking a couple of steps above, you're leveling up, okay? I can't find the right word for it now, but you're leveling up. And so what you're thinking about is okay, what really causes my client to take action? And when you listen back to Tony Robbins, he talks about this concept called pain and pleasure. Okay, people want to move away from pain and into pleasure. So if you start a 7-day challenge and you run it like it's evergreen, somebody can start today and then somebody else can start tomorrow, that's not really going to cause any motivation for them. It's much better to start a challenge all at once and then finish all at once, because you've got peer pressure, you've got social proof that everyone's together. People like to travel in tribes. So sure, it's a little bit more hard and it's a lot more work to do it this way, but the end result, the amount of people that you transform out of the 300 people could end up being 150, 200 people as opposed to the 50 people. So now you've got better and warm prospects, okay? But you have to understand is you've got the pain. What are they moving away from? And you have to start thinking about how can you reward them for taking action? Most people want to feel significant. They want to feel as though they're more significant than their others. They want to feel important. So you need to ask yourself every single day when you're helping these people, how can you make them feel more important? Because if you can make them feel more important by taking action on your lead magnet or the information you give them, they're going to feel good, and the chances of them taking another step of action is very likely. And if they take 7 steps, they get the result, and now they become a warm lead. And this is really how you go in. And I'm definitely not talking about, this strategy isn't about automation. This strategy isn't about building out a series of automated email responders sitting back and sipping some martinis on the beach. This strategy is about going in, making a complete big impact and getting clients who actually want to work with you because they know, love and trust you. Okay. And if you're sitting there wondering, wow, Lynn, this is a little bit tough, the alternative is probably to sign up to another coach's ebook and wonder how you can use the next shiny object to get results. Because as much as I want to say, look, that's going to work, I know for a lot of people that isn't going to work. Okay. And the best way to go about it, and as a coach, is to deliver value. Now, how do you deliver value? Is you need to understand what influences your clients, and that comes down to pain and pleasure. Okay. So if you start with peer pressure, if you start with fear of missing out, that's going to cause them to take action. Okay. But you also have to look at the carrot as well. Okay, what are you offering them? What are you almost dangling in front of their face so that they can take the next step, that they can take that next leap of faith? Okay, and for most people, it might be, hey, you know what? The best transformation or the best results that we get from the 7-day challenge or our 28-day challenge, we'll get free access into your core program. And that's not going to cost you anything, right? Because we talked about building a scalable program in the previous podcast episodes. And I really wanted to talk about this only because I've launched this idea, I've brought it out, and I've had a lot of trainers take it on board, and I'm seeing a lot of challenges, which is fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's not going to work if you don't know what influences people, because the whole strategy behind this is to help your clients take that next leap, that next step. And if you know, and if you can use pain and pleasure to your advantage, and you can get them from day 1 all the way through to day 7, you've got a very, very warm prospect who the chances of signing up with you are going to be a lot more than sending out cold traffic. Okay, so really I got there in the end. Obviously must have trained legs very hard at the gym, so my brain's not working, but I really hope this kind of opens up your mind as a business owner, because I know so many times you can go out there and you can say, look, Lynn, I launched your challenge and it didn't work. I had 100 people sign up and, I ended up with 5 phone calls. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But how many of those 100 people did you actually get results for? And you're like, well, nobody participated, right? Nobody took up the challenge and, that's crap. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But how do we problem solve this? Now, if that was the disconnect and you had 100 people sign up and only 10 people participated, what systems or what strategies could you implement inside that lead magnet to actually get 80 people, 100 people follow through? And so when you start thinking like that, when you start becoming a problem solver, things will always start to happen, because the ideas and the strategies are okay, but it really comes down to that 2mm shift that Tony Robbins talks about that really makes a big difference. The difference between your strategy and mine might be the fact that I implemented 3 more systems in place and I had a bit of a prize at the end because I knew what influenced my niche, the prospect that was coming into my funnel. Okay, so really have a deep think about that today. And, I know this is getting a little bit more advanced, but as we dive into it, I really want you to understand that most of this stuff and why your customers are buying from you, your prospects are buying from you, comes from more a psychological standpoint of really, their mindset, and they'll purchase on emotion. And so if you're able to understand this and you're able to understand the core concepts behind why people buy and why people take action and what influences people, then you will win. Okay, but remember, use this strategy for good and don't go out there delivering crap scams. Go out there and deliver awesome value. Go out there and transform more people's lives. But really, if you want to dig further into this and you want to get even better results, because the strategy is one thing, but here I really want to teach you how to fish, and I don't want to give you the fish, because it's so easy to go out there and launch your program and say, Lynn, I launched a 5-day challenge and I got shit all. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So what can we do about this? And how can you get people results in those 5 days so that they actually ask you, hey, how do I get from point B to C now that, you've shown me how to get from point A to B? Okay. And if you want to go listen back to those podcasts as well, they're very, very exciting. But I really hope you enjoy that one, and I'm sure we'll dig a little bit deeper as I nut out those mindset experts to really sit down and talk to you and help you become a better coach. The mindset stuff is actually going to help you become a better marketer. It's going to help you become a better salesperson. It's going to help you coach clients better, because if you understand what influences people, you can get them better results. And if you can get them better results, you can get them better results. Really, that's self-explanatory, right? You can change and transform their life. But I hope this helped you, and tune in for the next podcast, because I know it's going to be fabulous. Alright, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review. In that way, I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.